Shimano isn't necessarily known for baitcast reels under $100, but they do have a couple gems in their lineup, such as the Canon and the Sitka. Now, since 2018, we've had the release of the SLX line of reels coming in at $100. Are these as good as those other ones I mentioned? Are they better? Are they worse? Is this reel even worth it? Find out in today's video. First, let's go over the specs on this reel right here that I have. This one is the SLX 150. The gear ratio on this one is 6.3 to 1. The max drag is coming in at 12 pounds. The weight is coming in at 6.9 ounces. The line capacity is 10 pound test, 120 yards, and the MSRP is coming in at $99.99. Let's go over a couple of the features that Shimano boasts on this reel. The first one is the Hagani body. This is basically what makes Shimano reels so tough on the outside. The SLX reel, this one has it right here. I think it's pretty cool. They put the Hagani in there for a $100 reel. I think that's a really cool feature. This one also has Shimano's SVS braking system, which is that internal brakes. This one does not have a switch or anything like the VBS brakes or anything on the outside. This one is just those internal ones. So all you do is you open this up from the bottom, that pops up, and you have your brakes in here, which you have to manually adjust. So you flip those out, and they basically create resistance as you cast. Now, there's obviously the spool tension knob on the other side, which helps as well. I'm not a huge fan of those internal brakes. I mean, they make it to where it's very easy to adjust on the fly. I mean, pop, open that reel, you're back to fishing. However, I always just get nervous if I'm on the water opening up my reels, trying to change settings. It's so much easier to just do that little switch setting on the side. Either way, Shimano made this pretty easy to adjust, and those brakes are pretty nice. They definitely do help. So yeah, the braking on this is pretty good. It's just a little annoying to go in and have to tweak them on the inside. The nice thing that I do like about those internal brakes is once you get it dialed in to kind of what you need, there is very little adjustments that have to be made after that. Typically on my reels, I'm putting, maybe 2 to 3 of those brakes on, and that will pretty much work for almost any lure throughout the day that I throw. So it's really not that much adjustment, not that much time tinkering around with it, and then you're basically fishing, you set it and forget it. So Shimano does make that braking system really easy to go in and set that up. Shimano makes this reel in 3 different speeds, and they also make this in a left and right hand model of either speed. There's a 6.3 to 1, 7.2 to 1, and 8.2 to 1. That would be the just 150, the 150 HG, or the 150 XG. This is going to be pretty much all around bass fishing in terms of versatility goes. The only other thing I would see someone else doing with this would be a salmon or steelhead. Those guys that are out there using bait casters on the river for them. I think this would work great for that, having 12 pounds of drag. But mainly this is going to be a bass fishing reel. They do make an SLX BFS reel as well, but that's not the basis of today's video. This is just on the regular SLX here. So just all around bass fishing, this would be a great reel for it. Because of the price as well, I would say this would be a great one to buy an extra setup of and give it to a buddy while you're fishing. If you're a guide or something and you want to set up that, you don't know how clients are going to use, if they're going to trash it or whatever, but you still want something that's going to be a solid option for them to fish with. This would be a great price or, a great reel for that because of that price. It just doesn't really break the bank. As of looks, Shimano kind of changed this one up a little bit. I don't recall any blue and black Shimano reels in the past, but now when you think of blue and black reel, the SLX is kind of the main reel you think of in the industry now. So they've really kind of gave this a very iconic colorway. That blue on the SLX lettering on the side is really cool. And then they've also got the blue spool tension knob, the little bit more blue on the handle, and then the spool. So it's a really cool look. It's super sleek look. Shimano really doesn't make an ugly reel, and this one is no exception to that. As for durability, anything that has that Shimano Hagane body is going to be super tough on you. It's probably not going to break. I haven't heard of anyone at the shop. This is probably the #1 reel that I sell at the shop where I work, and I have not had a single person come in with any complaints about anything breaking. Very little maintenance on this reel. It's a very simple, easy to use reel. It's going to be super durable for you. The only thing I would worry is if you're messing around with those brakes and then you were to drop it. I don't know how, tough those internal brakes are, but, just make your setting real quick, close that reel back up, close it on the bottom, you know, and I don't see you having any durability issues with this reel whatsoever. As for feel, this reel's coming in at 6.9 ounces. That's pretty standard in the middle in terms of weight for Baitcast reels. Super easy to hold all day. This is a 150, so it's a, you know, a tad bit bigger than like a 70 or something like that. So, you know, I got big hands. I don't mind it. Super easy to hold all day. Shimano makes pretty slick, rounded. I like they make those nice rounded edges, so it's just really easy to put your palm around and fish all day and not really have any issues. So I know a lot of guys use this reel as like a spinnerbait reel because, you know, spinnerbait you're casting and retrieving all day long. You need kind of a powerhouse reel that's going to work through all that, you know, and feel good on your, you know, in your arms all day. And I think that was a great purpose for this reel, just because of how nice it feels. As for casting, this reel has been made very simple by Shimano, right? You've obviously, like I've talked about multiple times in this video, you've got your internal brakes in there, which are very easy to adjust. Once you get them adjusted and set, you really don't have to do much after that. All you're worried about is your spool tension knob. So, you know, if you're changing up lures, obviously you're going to adjust that spool tension knob to however much weight you need. But overall, for casting, for a $100 reel, this reel casts amazing. Obviously not as far as some of those higher end Shimano reels, but this thing is still going to whip some lures out there a long ways. If you're just throwing super light lures, then I would recommend getting something a little bit better, like a DC reel, you know, or an MGL spool or something a little different for that. But for all around fishing, this is a great reel if you're throwing, you know, spinnerbaits, frogs, Senkos, you know, chatterbaits, jigs, right? Stuff that's got a little bit of weight to it. You just need something that's going to be strong, durable, and sling those things out of ways. For $100, this reel is phenomenal for that. Now, as for price, I kind of talked about this already, but for $100, this reel is a phenomenal option for $100. I cannot believe they sell it for that. This reel fishes to me more like a $130 to $150 reel of some other companies. So once again, Shimano is just on top. I'm a little biased. I'm a huge Shimano guy. You guys know that. But there's a reason why I'm a huge Shimano guy, and that's because the value you're getting for the prices is just insane. For $100, you're getting an amazing reel for that price. So let's go over the pros and cons of this reel and whether it would be right for you. So as for the pros, right, number one, this reel is super comfy. It's very easy to hold and fish all day. It also casts really nice for a $100 reel. This thing is an awesome casting. Looks great, right? The black and blue is such a sleek little look. Shimano really doesn't make an ugly reel ever. And the price, it is a super great price. I mean, it is for $100, you're not beating this on the market. As for cons, I do think sometimes those internal brakes, granted, you can set them and you don't really have to tinker with them a lot, but I don't like having to open the reel up anytime I have to make an adjustment. I like having the things on the side. Obviously, this is a $100 reel, so, you know, your a little more expensive reels, you're going to be paying for those extra features, but I just think sometimes those internal brakes can be a little annoying to mess around with. Like I said, you're really not messing around with those internal brakes very much during a fishing trip. I just really don't like if I had to mess around with it, you know, bad weather or whatever. I don't like having to open my reel up to go in and tinker with it. I'd really like to have all of my adjustments on the side. But like I said, $100 reel, you know, you're not going to get some of those features. That's going to be more like the SLX XT, the SLX DC, and some of those other little bit steps up from this. But overall, the Shimano SLX is a fantastic reel. It's going to cover a lot of different scenarios. I would specifically use this for, you know, like pond fishing where, you know, you need a setup that you're just going to be kind of beating up, trashing around, throwing big heavy frogs or, you know, just anything, Senkos, whatever. You just need a really solid setup to just fish hard with you. This would be an amazing reel for that. For those of you that are new, wanting to get into bait casters and you don't have a huge budget, this is hands down the number one pick that you should think about getting. If you're an experienced fisherman and you just need an extra setup in your lineup, something to throw some different techniques that you don't want to use on another setup, this would also be a great choice for that as well. Overall, I'm giving this reel a 9.5 out of 10. I really think this is an incredible product. As you guys know, I don't give out a lot of 9.5s. There's very few reels that I've given that rating to. 9.5, I think this reel deserves it. If you guys are wanting a reel that casts just a little bit farther, has a little bit better braking, and is only about 30 to 40 bucks more, I would 100% check out the Shimano SLX XT, which, if you guys are watching this and I've got the video out in time, It'll be right here for you guys to check out. If you guys are also wanting a rod that would pair up really well with either of these two reels, I will put that right here for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. See you guys next time on Humbug Videos.